somewhere between Durham and York. So we're still way up north, and I just had a look at the time. It's 1:30, which means another 8 hours on this train. And what time do we get on? 20 past 8, 20 past 9, 20 past 10, 20 past 11, 20 past 12. Yeah, we're not even halfway yet. So we are now entering the Vale of York. To our right, or our east, on the distance you can see the North York Moors. And if we look to the other side, in the distance, in the very far distance, you can just see the Yorkshire Dales starting to come in towards us. As we go further down, they'll become much closer. Yorkshire Dales, of course, famous for the beautiful scenery. I used to go there every year, at least once, with my mum and dad, and then latterly with my mum. It was her favourite place on earth. We used to go to Richmond and Reeth and places like that. Yeah, they were the days. So here we are arriving at York. I've got a cup of coffee, so I'm a happy bunny.
You're sorted.
Let's get out and let's get some fresh air.
Thanks.
Now my coach is down there somewhere, so I'm going to walk this way. So I've visited York. Here we go. Oh look, we must be on the right carriage as a YouTuber. York Station, this is one of the finest stations in the country. Well, that's us leaving York, once the centre of the British rail network. We're now heading off through Leeds and Doncaster and that way through Yorkshire, before heading down through to the Midlands. So I've got some lunch, so I'm going to eat this, and hopefully we'll be at our next destination. I've just seen a windmill. It's like being in Holland. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, we've made it all the way down to Leeds. Leeds in Yorkshire. I'm not sure if this is the halfway point. Charles Dickens once pronounced Leeds the beastiest place on earth. Do you reckon he'd recognise it now? Is it still the beastliest place on earth? I don't know. You tell me in the comments if you know Leeds better than me. Is it the beastliest place on earth? Was Dickens right? In the distance over there you can see Leeds United, Ellen Road ground, known as the Field of Dreams because they go there and dream about winning one day. And so we have now arrived at Wakefield Westgate, a model station serving the town of Wakefield, just to the south of Leeds and to the north of Sheffield. We better get back on. Well, as we pass the halfway mark between Leeds and Sheffield, we reach the halfway point of the journey. It is now 20 to 3, so we're on time. Yeah, halfway. First half was easy. Hope the second half is. So we're outside of Sheffield Station, waiting for a platform. First time this has happened since we left Aberdeen. Maybe make us a couple of minutes late. And here we are, approaching Sheffield. Famous for its steelworks. The saying "made in Sheffield" was a symbol of quality. Cutlery is the industry we're talking about here. As we pull in, let's go and have a look at the station. And so here we are at a very, very sunny Sheffield station. It's a beautiful warm day out here. The coach behind us, which is coach C by the way, is red hot. I think the heating's broken. That's what the man from Alston was trying to fix. I don't think he's managed it because it's still like an oven in there. Glad I'm in coach D. So, time to board the train. Let's go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have now made it as far as Derby. A wonderful industrial town in the north of the Midlands. Not a patch on what it used to be, but here we are in Derby, and the weather's still beautiful. So having passed Derby, we are now firmly in the Midlands and heading south. We will not be long before we're in Birmingham. And then once you're in Birmingham, you're not long before you're in the southwest. Welcome to Burton-on-Trent station. Here we are, in the sun still. Plenty of time, they've got a ramp up over there. And of course, Burton-on-Trent is most famous for its beer. Well, we are sitting outside Birmingham New Street, which is quite unusual because there's always a queue for a platform. So that's what we're doing. We're sitting here waiting for an empty platform. As soon as one becomes available, they'll call us in and we will offload and continue with our journey. So here we are at the famous Birmingham New Street, the concrete underground station here in the middle of the city, which is in the middle of the country almost geographically. So we're not going to be here that long, and then we'll be heading off there to the south again. We're now heading into what could really be called the Welsh borderlands, which is just before we hit the West Country, which we will terminate our journey in approximately 5 and a bit hours. Well, after that long wait to get in, we're now 10 minutes late leaving, which is the latest this train's been all day. It's been remarkably good. A minute here, a minute there, or on time. But I'm sure we'll make this up. I'm sure they're determined that this train, being the last one, will pull into Penzance exactly on time. But we'll have to wait and see. So here we are, we're heading down towards Cheltenham. Now, I'm sure you'll agree, Cheltenham, it's near Gloucester. That's the start, really, of the southwest, isn't it? So, we've gone through Scotland, we've gone through the northeast, we've gone through the Midlands, and we're about to enter the final phase, which is the southwest. And because we'll be in the southwest all the way down to Penzance. Over there in the distance, you can see the Malvern Hills. Oh, here we are, Cheltenham Spa. The journey continues. And still the weather's beautiful. It's warm, it's sunny, there's not a cloud in the sky. And hopefully the train's not going to go without me. Now, you know we're in the final segment of our journey because here at Cheltenham Spa is the gateway to the West Country. Doesn't matter which way you look at it, it's from here on in, you're in the West Country. And if you have a close look, I don't know if you can see it, under the name Cheltenham Spa over there, it clearly says GWR. Some would have you say that means God's Wonderful Railway. Some would say it's something completely different. But anyway, so we're in GWR country, which is the West Country, and we're also in Cheltenham. So we are definitely in the West Country now. So we're just coming into Bristol Parkway. The next station, about 12 minutes after that, will be Bristol Temple Meads. And that is going to be a really weird one, because that's where I got on to start this journey yesterday. and it's where I always get off because it's my home station. But today I'm staying on the train and I'm not getting off and I'm carrying on through. That's going to be weird. So I've caught a few trains from here in the past. Bristol Parkway, back again. Oh dear, oh dear. We have still got another few hours to go to get down to Penzance, so I'm going to get back on the train again. So way back up there in Edinburgh Waverley, they stuck a few extra coaches on the train. That messed up the consist, which meant they had to reverse out of Newcastle, which is a real bonus because they don't do that anymore. They come through on the King Edward VII bridge. So to come over and reverse out on the high level bridge was excellent. So now we're going to go and take them off because only the original 5 coaches are going to go on. So let's go and see if they get that right, and we can be on our way. So I've got to say that this is actually really weird because normally I would be getting off here, but now I'm going to get back on the train as soon as they split it, which is what they're going to be doing just here. Nice to see you again. So there's the back, the one that says train on test, we're leaving that behind, and the one that says Penzance, we're staying on. So we are well and truly here in the West Country now, at my home station. How weird is this? This is really weird. I've got to say, ladies and gentlemen, I always get off the train here, and here I am getting back on it. Bizarre. There's always one, as you can see behind me, people have got on the wrong half of the train. They won't go very far.
You'd think so. But...
You get a train ride ending and you get a load of YouTubers turn up. Look at this.
Yeah.
Basically, they're about to split a train. There it goes. They've just split it. So now I can get back on. As we leave the Mendip Hills behind, to our left in the distance, we enter the Somerset Levels. And to the right there, you can just start to begin to see Brentnall. And as we cross the Huntsville, in the distance you can just about make out Glastonbury Tor. It's way over there in the distance. Well, here we are. We're in Taunton, and the lovely lady sitting next to me has got off, so I'm going to get back on again.
You can get on if you want.
So as we pull away from Taunton Station, they travel even deeper into the West Country.
You never know.
With it being a really nice blue sunny day, I've been made very aware of the changing of the sunlight and the colour and the direction and the effect it has on the greenery and the filming I'm doing. It's really interesting. So I've not actually sat in one place, which, although I'm moving, this carriage is one place, and filmed for this long in one sitting before. Learning some things today. Be interested to see how this comes together in the edit. Well, here we are. Rent the Crowd has arrived.
Good luck, soldier. Best of luck. Good luck. We're going to get back on the train before it leaves without me, but it was nice seeing you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Nice one, guys. See ya. And we have reached Exeter St David's. We are here. So apparently we have a few minutes here at Exeter before we're due to leave again. As you can see, we form the 849, which to me looks like about 5 minutes away. So I think we'll be leaving in about 5 minutes from here. Now the next part of the journey is beautiful. If you've never travelled this line before, you are in for a treat. This ends its journey at the far end of the south coast at Penzance in St Michael's Bay, but we're about to get our first glimpse of that sea, which is an amazing journey. Brunel built the railway along here, and this particular piece of railway goes all the way along the seafront and is an absolute marvel, and it's an absolute bugger to keep maintained as well. They're often having trouble with it. So I'm going to get back on in a second, and we are going to head off in a few minutes. Next pretty much destination, we're going to go to Newton Abbot. Is our next destination. That's where my son is currently living, and also where you get off if you want to go to Torquay, where my daughter lives. So we are going to head in that direction. So if ever you find yourself on a train travelling west out of Exeter, sit on the left, because that's the window you're going to want to look out. That one over there.
Good evening and welcome aboard to everybody who is there at Exeter St David. Next call point on this service this evening will be Newton Abbot.
So, for those of you not familiar with this part of the country, you're in for a treat, because we are going to travel now down the River Exeter towards Dawlish. Then we're going to turn right and we're going to run along near Brunel seawall, which is where the railway actually is against the sea. So let's have a look at how this works out. And here we are approaching the River Exeter. This particular line that we're on between here and onto Totnes and all along the seafront was actually originally designed by Brunel to be driven by suction. There was basically a cast iron tube laid along between the tracks, and that was lined with a piece of leather to keep the vacuum in, and basically the trains were pumped along. There is a pump house we'll be going past later on, further on down here, which is, and also in Totnes station there's remains of a pump house. It didn't work, and it didn't work because the rats came along and ate the leather. They found it rather tasty, so that didn't go down very well, and conventional locomotives were then put on the route. As you can see, we're coming along here. It's quite wide here, the tide is in. When the tide's out, a lot of those boats are kind of on their side. Exmouth on the other side of the river there. Absolutely beautiful part of the countryside to live in. I used to live in Totnes, which is not far from here, and we will be stopping there later. I do miss living in a town with a railway station. I really, really do. Over there is Dawlish Warren, which is a finger of sandy land that sticks out and almost cuts the River Ex off, but it does leave an entrance which you can see over there towards Exmouth. And as we get closer to the Warren, we will then be on the coast. Because just the other side of that is the sea. As you can see, it's a haven for seabirds. So this side is now completely dried up. So the Warren has met the mainland. There's some holiday accommodation here. And just over there to the right, you get the first view of the sea wall. Over there, the other side of the fairground. On the other side of that, obviously, is the sea, which we will now follow exclusively on this rather special piece of railway line, complete with tunnels cut through the cliffs to get you through, and gaps where you can get through. To the right, you can see along the coast towards Berry Head, the other side of Torquay, towards Dartmouth and round that way. And as you can see, the only thing between this wall and the sea is the beach. You can walk along here, lots of people do. There you are, there's people flashing past. It's a great walk. You'll see it as we go past it, but the cliffs here are a very red sandstone, and that's the problem. Sandstone, as you know, crumbles, and there's often cliff falls or something happens, and when that happens, it completely closes this line. And when this line is closed, everything west of here, all the way down to the end of the line where we're going today, is cut off. So you can have trains inside that bit going backwards and forwards, but that's all you can do. There's no way of getting through. I think we're about to come now into one of the tunnels. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, tunnel. And then we're at the other side, and we're soon to be in yet another tunnel. This really is an amazing piece of railway line along here, and there's a third tunnel, and here comes a fourth. What they had to do to get the railway line through. They came across the south of Dartmoor. The London South Western, of course, went across the north of Dartmoor. And came into Plymouth from a different direction. Today the two lines join at Exeter Central. Exeter Central is where the line comes down from London, Waterloo, and it joins on to the Great Western Line via a very steeply inclined, I believe the steepest incline on a British railway, short branch section down to Exeter station at the bottom. Here we are. Shortly we'll be turning inland and going up a different estuary. This time the Tean estuary, with, guess what, Teignmouth at its entrance and Newton Abbot. See the link at the top end?
Yeah. Yes, you were standing there.
There are other places like Tean Bridge, but the ones we're concerned with are Teignmouth, which we will go through very shortly, and a Newton Abbot, where we will be stopping. Here we go, leaving the beach at Teignmouth and heading inland. Well, actually what we're doing is cutting off a corner, because at Teignmouth the River Tean comes out, and so what we'll be doing is cutting the corner off across here and joining the Tean estuary as it comes around the corner. mostly in a cutting through here till we come out again on the estuary. We come out there, the Whispering Bridge, and here's the tin estuary over there, look. Other side of these sheds. There we go. And that over there is the Whispering Bridge. So cool because when the wind blows through it at the right angle and at the right speed, it makes like a whispering noise. And there you go. So now we travel up the length of the Tean estuary. As you can see, the tide is in, so there's a lot of water. When the tide is out, this is mostly mud flats. It's very shallow, quite a long way out. I think you can see the boys out there marking where you don't want to come in beyond if you don't want to get left high and dry. You can't, in fact, the camera won't pick it up, but I can actually see the bottom through the water from here. Quite a long way out. I believe that's Shaldon on the other side. You get a lot of these inlets. The dart is the same, and it has these little inlets. You can see one over there, little creeks. Often you find a nice little pub at the top of one of those, or a little village. You certainly do on the Dart River. It does seem strange coming when I come back here, because I lived here for about 15 years. I lived down here. Yeah, brought my kids up here mostly. You see, if you look across, I don't know if the camera picks it up, but there's a gap between the trees and the water, which is where the water goes up. If you're lucky, certainly on the River Dart, and you keep your eyes on that gap when you're out on a boat, you'll occasionally see the flash of a kingfisher, because that's where they like to hang out, in that bit of tree line between the water and the tree. I know nothing more than that, so I'm not an expert, but that I can tell you. There you go. Now that gives you an idea what it looks like further down when the tide's out. Great for wading birds and little else. Now we leave the water for a while. Head inland. You're going to go to the other side. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. I came across to this side because there you can see Newton Abbot racecourse through the trees. Quite a busy racecourse at the right time of year, and also the venue for one of the better car boot sales down here as well. Next race, the next racing day is the 28th of May, and very shortly beyond that we run in past, I think that's Tucker's Maltings. Yes, that's Tucker's Maltings over there. And that's as we run into Newton Abbot Station, which of course is going to be on the other platform. But we get a good view of the main station building coming in this way. And here we are. Newton Abbot, a station I have travelled from many times. Many times. In fact, my son still lives here. Now, I'm not going to give these people a problem by hanging around on the platform, so I'm going to get back on so they don't have to shout at me. So, the next stop is going to be Totnes, where I used to live. See you there. The Heart of the Tribe Gallery is a community art gallery situated near the top of Glastonbury High Street. They host amazing exhibitions supporting local artists, and they have a beautiful secret garden out the back. So be sure to check them out and support local art.